Hello and welcome to this episode. I spent the last couple of weeks in Southeast Asia. It is time to go home now, but I decided to take the scenic route. Let's go to the airport and I will explain. So currently I'm in Singapore and the obvious choice, flying back to London, would be just to take a direct flight. But as I'm here, I always wanted to try the world's longest commercial flight. So that is what we're taking today, Airbus A350 on Singapore Airlines from here in Singapore all the way to JFK to the other side of the world, and then from there I will fly back to London. So if you've never been to Singapore before, even if your flight is not leaving from Terminal 1, it's worth coming over here. It's called the Jewel. This is just another word. It's state of the art. It's only 8:42 in the morning and the waterfall will not start until 10:30. Unfortunately, I will not be able to see that because by that time I will need to be on the other side after security. But even without it, it's breathtaking. It's a literal rainforest. Let's go and check in. Very good morning. New York City.
Sure. Any destination? Can I have your bag on the scale?
No, these are coming on with.
carry?
No, there's no carry on. All checked in and through security. If you're flying from Singapore and on Singapore Airlines, I definitely recommend trying out their lounge because you will be worth it. There are two lounges for Singapore Air, one for business and one for first class passengers. As I'm flying on business, I can visit the Silverkris lounge. It is huge, has plenty of seating, multiple bars and food stations, offering all kinds of dishes from every corner of the world. There are also quiet areas and a business corner. So my flight today to New York will take 18 hours and 50 minutes. And because of the length of it, there will actually be 3 meal services on the plane. I decided I was not going to have any food here in the lounge because I ordered some really nice food, but I will talk about the food selection a bit later. So for now, I will probably just enjoy my coffee, maybe have a shower, and then I cannot wait to get on the plane. The lounge also has a few showers. They are clean and have Japanese toilets. I wish more places have these. The showers do not have to be booked, you can just use them if there's a free one, but if they are busy, you can just book the next available slot. Soon it was time to go, so after my shower I headed to the gate, and of course it was the furthest one from the lounge, and there she was, a 6-year-old Airbus A350-900 made specifically for Singapore Airlines. They've got 7 of these, and they are all fitted with a modified fuel system, so they can carry extra fuel which they need for the ultra-long flights. Good morning.
Morning, 16 Thank you.
Thank you very much. Business class on the A350 set up in a 1-2-1 layout, and the seats are custom designed for this specific plane. I'll give you a closer look later, but for now they are 28 inches wide, convert into a 78-inch bed and come with an 18-inch screen. Depending on your row, you will get either 1 or 2 windows, each with manual blinds. My seat for the next 18 hours, 16A. Welcome aboard the SQ24. The first impression is really good. This actually reminds me of the Finnair non-reclining business class seat. It's very similar in terms of the layout. We will have a better look around a bit later, but for now, this is really nice. The crew already came around with hot towels and a welcome drink. There was a choice of champagne, water, or orange juice. I had an orange juice, but I was very thirsty, so it's already gone. We are at the moment delayed 25 minutes because of a typhoon above Japan, but we will be leaving shortly, so looking forward to this. We pushed back about 20 minutes behind schedule and started taxiing to the runway. The safety video played. It is now my second favorite after Hawaiian Airlines. It is really good and shows off some of Singapore's most iconic spots.
Welcome aboard Singapore Airlines. As the safety equipment on this aircraft may differ from that on other aircraft. Please give us your attention as we bring you through this important safety briefing and on a journey through Singapore.
The 9,500 miles long flight from gate to gate took just over 18 hours, with 17 hours and 12 minutes spent in the air. We are up in the air now, and let's have a look around the seat. Again, the seat itself is very wide, it is very comfortable. I'm very happy with it. On the seat there was a pillow and a pair of slippers. In all honesty, these slippers are a bit of a letdown. They were way too small, felt kind of cheap, so I did not use them at all. I always carry a pair from Emirates, so I just used those. Socks and an eye mask. Singapore does not give you a amenity kit unless you request one, but everything that you want is available on request individually, or you go into the bathroom and you can just help yourself. I will show you later. So if we go from the seat to the right, all the seat and light controls are in one place on the side, and there is a reading light too. The seat is big and I found it super comfy, 28 inches wide with plenty of support for your legs. I thought it was a great seat and had no issues with comfort. To the right of the seat there is some more storage with another reading light, a USB port and some universal power socket. You also find a remote for the IFE, a compartment for the headphones and a bottle of water. In front of you there is even more storage with some light, a mirror and an 18-inch IFE screen, which I will show you later. The tray table is sturdy and even adjusts up and down. And finally, there's even more storage under the leg rest. There are additional reading lights in the panel above you, but there are no adjustable air vents. Service started with warm nuts and a drink right after takeoff, and then I had the first main meal served by around an hour and 45 minutes into the flight. You remember how I said in the lounge that I did not want to eat? Well, this was the reason. You could order food from the menu, but this is not on the menu. For this, you have to book the cook. The onboard menu is huge with lots of options to choose from, but if you're after the really good stuff, you can use the online menu before your flight. It is the same as they have on board, plus an extra feature called Book the Cook. This lets you pre-order from a bigger selection of dishes, including things like lobster and steak. You've got until 24 hours before departure, from 4 months before, to make your choice, and I definitely recommend giving it a try. This one, I have to cheat a little bit. This one is A4 Wagyu beef, grilled to perfection in a traditional Japanese style. The succulent beef is served alongside a medley of assorted seasonal vegetables and a portion of warmed steamed rice. Well, it looks good, so hopefully it tastes nice as well. Let's try this. It's absolutely brilliant. It's grilled a little bit too perfect for me. I would have liked it a bit more medium, but again, this is a plane, so this is not a complaint in any shape or form. I'm really happy with my choice, and this is actually very good food. I'm looking forward to the second meal as well. Probably gonna be like another 8-9 hours into the flight. I will show you that when it comes as well. For now, let's just go back and finish it. After the main meal, the crew came around with a trolley full of different desserts. You could have one, all of them, or as many as you wanted. I went for this small cake and it was great. Then they dimmed the lights, so I decided to settle in and watch a few films. The headphones, they're quite good, great noise cancelling, but I found them a bit heavy and uncomfortable after a few hours. The IFE was solid, but it's not a touchscreen, so you have to use the remote, which is not super intuitive and can lag sometimes, but the system itself was very good. The moving map uses the Voyager system, which you will see on a lot of other airlines, and it worked great. For entertainment, I counted 401 films and 183 TV shows, plus a bunch of kids programs, music and some games. There's also live TV with 8 channels, which is really impressive. And there's Wi-Fi, which is free, but you have to log in with a KrisFlyer account, but again, that's free as well. The coverage was excellent, I had internet for the whole flight. The speed wasn't the fastest, but it was perfectly fine for staying connected. This is a really long flight, and jet lag can be brutal, so it's important to plan this right. No matter how tempting it is to sleep, try to stay awake until at least your second meal, which is about 10 hours in, then get some sleep, but no more than 4 hours. That way, when you land in the afternoon, you will feel rested enough to stay awake until around midnight, but tired enough just to fall asleep and start the next day in sync with the local time zone. The washrooms were on the small side, but they were very clean the whole time. They had some extra amenities, fresh flour, and the crew did a great job keeping them in a clean and tidy shape throughout. I spent the next few hours in my seat, ticking off a few films from my watch list. The seat on this A350 is such a comfortable place, and I really enjoyed just having a rest and doing nothing.
So we are 10 hours and 23 minutes into the flight. The second meal service has just come around. Normally it would come a bit earlier, but it's quite turbulent up here. It is 11:24 p.m. in Singapore, October 29th, and 11:24 a.m. October 29th in New York City. We have already crossed the international date line, so the day has now reset. My plan is to eat this, and I have to look again, which is a Singapore laksa, which is rice noodles in coconut cream, seafood gravy with prawns, fish cake, deep fried bean curd and bean sprouts. Looks amazing. I hope it's, I'm sure it's really nice. So the plan is I'm gonna eat this and then try to have about 3, maybe 4 hours sleep. And when I wake up, it will only be a couple of hours left before we land. And hopefully that will not mess up my clock too much. There's exactly 12 hours difference between New York and Singapore, so we will see what it's like. For now, I am just gonna enjoy that and then off to sleep.
The electric seat controls do not turn the seat into a bed, just into a recline. So if you want to sleep, there's a manual switch at the back of the seat, and with just a few moves, you can turn it into a bed. All the bedding, pillows and the duvet are already there, so really it's just a few seconds. The bed itself is nice and wide, except for the footrest where it narrows down a bit, but it's still okay. But when it comes to the length, I'm 6'1" and it was just okay for me. Once I got comfy, I was out and I did not wake up for about 4.5 hours.
Good morning or good evening. 16 hours and 60 minutes in, 5:17 in the morning in Singapore, 5:17 p.m. in New York City. I had a few hours of sleep, which was much needed, and I feel so much better. Brushed my teeth, got changed into, I wouldn't say winter clothes, but more appropriate to the weather in New York. So with 16 hours and 15 minutes in and still an hour left, then we'll end up with about 17 hours and 15 to 20 minutes total flight time, plus the taxi, both in Singapore and New York. So probably looking at just over 18 hours, a bit less than the 18 hours and 50. I just cannot wait to get out of the plane. Don't get me wrong, it was a very nice flight, I really enjoyed it, but logged in for over 18 hours in a tube is not a dream place to be. Specifically with A350 with these business seats is a really nice place, and actually it's a very comfortable flight, so if you ever decide to do that, I can only recommend it. Not sure about back in the premium economy. I think for a flight this long, you need this space to be relaxed and to actually enjoy your time. I'm not gonna have something to eat, and I will see you on the ground. As it turned out, I was not going to have the pre-landing meal because I slept right through it. But on that note, let's wrap up and summarize my experience on SQ24. I rate the experience based on 6 categories: the airport, the seat, the cabin, the food, the IFE, and finally the crew/service. These scores are purely based on my experience and my expectations, so take them with a pinch of salt, but that said, they should give you a pretty good idea of what to expect should you take SQ24. When it comes to the airport, the lounge was spacious, the shower was fantastic, and there were endless food options. It's an easy 10 out of 10. The seat itself was excellent, comfortable and well designed, but the slippers were disappointing, and when converted into a bed, the seat wasn't quite long enough for me. Still, 8 out of 10. The cabin was lovely, but overhead locker space was a bit tight and the toilet felt a bit small for business class. I give 9 out of 10. When it comes to food, Singapore Airlines delivered something truly special. Both main meals were incredible and I really had a good experience, 10 out of 10. The IFE had loads of options and were great, with a very useful map, but the lack of a touchscreen, a clunky remote and slightly uncomfortable headphones, well, for me at least, brought it down a bit. It's 8 out of 10. The crew, they were amazing. From start to finish, they made the flight an absolute pleasure. It's the easiest 10 out of 10. So, my final score for SQ24 flying from Singapore to New York JFK is 55 out of 60, an impressive 91%. It was a fantastic experience and I can only recommend them. My business class flight with Singapore Airlines cost me £1,890 or around $2,365 US, which works out around 20p or 25 cents per mile. I booked this as a one-way ticket from Bangkok with a stopover at Singapore. However, if you book the same flight starting from Singapore, you could easily end up paying $5,000 or $6,000. For what I paid, I think it was excellent value and I absolutely loved the entire experience. So, this was the world's current longest flight. I say current because Qantas in 2025 is planning to launch the direct London to Sydney flight, which will be a bit longer than this one. That will come at around 20 hours, they say. So, once it launches, I will have to try that out too. This flight was really, really good. The seats were much wider than you would normally have on business class seats, and that definitely helped. It's a very comfortable seat. When you turn it into a bed, well, speaking of the bed, I really liked the fact that it already has the mattress and everything else on it. All you do is just turn it around and it's a full bed, very wide. Foot, well, could be a bit bigger, but otherwise it's really nice and I really enjoyed the flight. And when it comes to the crew, when I had the second meal, the noodle dish, it was very red and it was oily, and the whole flight was quite turbulent. So the meal had half an egg and I was eating it with a chopstick. Turbulence came, egg went back, and I got a splash with the oily broth. And one of the crew members saw it and she came around and she insisted that if I changed, that she would like to clean my white shirt. And I was like, no, that's definitely not going to happen because I'm sure that this is not something that you have to do. But she insisted, and once I changed, she took it away, she cleaned it, and before we landed, she brought it back to me. So I'm 100% confident that that is not something which is within her work contract. So it's not something that she has to do, and she did it anyway. So crew was absolutely amazing. It's one of the best service I've ever had. The flight was really good, and if you got the chance, well, I definitely recommend trying it. It's definitely an experience on its own. There's not really much else to say. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next one very soon. Bye bye.